want to bring in Congressman Bob Good, who represents Virginia's 5th Congressional District. Congressman Good, thanks for joining us on Sekulow.
Great to be with you again. Thanks for having me.
And so, Congressman, you are leading an effort, a discharge petition in the U.S. House on the Life at Conception Act to force a vote on the House floor. And you've got 120 members who've co-signed the petition. Tell people what the act would do.
Well, we're actually up to just under 130 now, and I will also tell you that it's the discharge petition on the Life at Conception Act. So if you take the co-sponsor to the Life at Conception Act, sponsored by my friend Alex Mooney from West Virginia, and the discharge petition, meaning those who've signed on to help us try to force a floor vote, combine all of them together, we're at 182-plus Republicans for it. So nearly 90% of the conference has supported this bill, which will do two things, essentially. One, recognize the science that life does begin at conception. And then number two, it deserves protection under the 14th Amendment. So we're trying to stake our claim clearly as the party of life, the bold party of life from conception, while we know the other side has become the party of death, the party of abortion up to the moment of birth, anytime for any reason, even after birth, and you get to pay for it with your tax dollars.
Yeah, and unfortunately we're hearing from lots of folks, in deeply blue states who are kind of saying, what can we do now? And one of the things we've had to tell them, Congressman, we have to go to fight in the ACLJ. We do that often, and we have attorneys doing it right now in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and had to do it in California a number of times, especially when Kamala Harris and Becerra were AGs there, state AGs there, is the pro-life pregnancy centers on the front lines for life, who are the answer to that question, Congressman. Everybody says there's going to be too many babies. Yeah, we have organizations in place, but even Governor Whitmer in Michigan just vetoed $20 million for adoption there to expand services there. It's like they want to create a crisis of children, which is just kind of sick.
That's right. They have become the party of we want more abortions, essentially, that there should be obviously no restrictions for any reason at any time on abortion. And as you well know, the number of families seeking to adopt children greatly exceeds even the number of abortions that are performed annually in this country. But thank God, after 50 years nearly, the most catastrophic, devastating, damaging court decision in the history of the United States that caused more carnage than any other has mercifully been overturned. And so we as Republicans have to rise to the moment, seize the day, match the courage of the Supreme Court who followed through on this decision, and respond to it with legislation that does affirm and protect all life from conception.
Yeah, because that's been our clear message, Congressman, as well. That's why it's great to have you on. And we're talking to Congressman Bob Good of Virginia, is that we wanted to give people some time. It was kind of, it was leaked out, and there was a lot of, we could get into that for days. But there was some time where people kind of started to realize, hey, this may be real. We may actually see the overturn of Roe versus Wade. We told people the first few days, let's celebrate it. We've been fighting for this for decades. We're at this point, but don't forget what we've been working on since that case was taken by the U.S. Supreme Court. Is what if Roe versus Wade is overturned? The battles that will be unleashed. Both at the state level, but also the federal level. And you've got, again, the divide. And we need to talk about that for a second, because it just seems like there is no space on the other side of the aisle from any of your colleagues on the Democrat Party to support anything that has to do with potentially being seen as pro-life now. You have to be, it's not even that, you have to be anti, I think it's the new way, is you have to be anti the pro-life movement as well, not just pro-abortion, but anti the pro-life movement, like Elizabeth Warren saying we need to shut down these torture centers, which she's talking about pro-life pregnancy centers.
Yes, we can't even get the Democrats to support born alive legislation that if a baby, in that rare circumstance, a baby survives an abortion, they will not vote to, tragically, they will not even vote to save that life. No Democrat criticized Ralph Northam's stated position in my home state of Virginia just a few years ago when he said, hey, you get to decide after the baby survives what to do with it. So that's who they've become. They've surrendered, as you said, all the middle ground, all the compromising territory. So the Dems have become all the way in the left extreme, and so we need to be bold on life. We can win with this issue. We're going to win with this issue. November will show that after the Supreme Court has decided Roe v. Wade, or reversed it, I should say, and left it to the legislators, the American people are going to vote Republicans into office. So why not go into November having been bold on life, so we have the courage to advance legislation in the majority. We're going to elect hopefully 30 to 40 new pro-lifers this fall, and we'll have the numbers if we have the courage to pass the Life at Conception Act as a Republican majority in the House, put every Republican on record they truly pro-life as they ran, as they campaigned, as they fundraised, as they say when they're talking to faith-based groups. And then we'll also put the Senate on record. How many of our senators are truly pro-life? And then the 24 is a great Senate map for us, where we're going to have a chance to pick up more seats in 24 and hopefully a presidency as well. And then we can hopefully get legislation like this signed into law. So this should be the standard that we're pursuing. This should be our stake in the ground. While we recognize we may have opportunity to pass more incremental legislation along the way, we'll take that if we can get it, but we never stop fighting for conception.
That's what we've been doing, Congressman, about. It's kind of saying, do everything you can that you know that we're going to win easily in court or not even have to go to court over, and then we work on the next phase as well. You can do that simultaneously. There's a big enough movement behind it, and we have to be just as energized, if not more energized, than the pro-abortion left and their allies like Planned Parenthood. Congressman Good, thank you for joining us. Thank you for what you're doing for life